Hello friends, my name is Abe. I'm just outside Bentonville and Browntown. These are the kind of places where most people wouldn't really stop, and I almost didn't either. But sometimes places where there's least going on are some of the most interesting places. So I thought I would go ahead and stop here, get out of the car, take a little tour, and see what's going on in these little towns. All right, so let's go ahead and get a little tour. This is Road 340. It goes from Luray in that direction all the way to Front Royal. And when you take that road and go that way, that's Bentonville. Looks like there's a nice old school post office here. There are some vacant buildings attached to this post office, but it seems like there are no businesses here. So this road here is called Bentonville Road, and I drive by here all the time and I never stop. This Bentonville Road takes you all the way to Browntown, and the thing about Bentonville and Browntown is that these are towns, but they're not really towns. They're not incorporated. They're towns that are not really towns, so that's interesting. They call them unincorporated communities. There's no police department, there are no mayors, there's absolutely no, for example, there's no fire department. So it is very interesting. It looks like I see this building here. It looks to be abandoned, and there's a tree that fell on this house, looks like, but it didn't really damage the roof, so it can be easily removed and fixed up. I remember driving by here almost 6 years ago, and when I drove by here almost 6 years ago, I saw this exact tree on this exact house in the same exact condition, and that was 6 years ago, and it's still that way. So in 6 years, nobody bothered to remove that tree from that house, so I assume that that property is abandoned. Maybe the owners no longer live in this area or close by, so nobody really cares. Looks like a lot of the houses here are older houses, and they don't seem to be in very good condition. They seem to be a little bit depressed, to put it mildly. For example, this house here looks like also abandoned, but they have recently done some road here, maybe fixed up the driveway here. But other than that, this property appears to be completely abandoned. And if I remember correctly, it has been abandoned for many, many years. Very, very interesting to see. If you look here, the door seems to have some very interesting artwork here. You can tell it's a very old building. It has some broken windows, so that's very interesting to see. I think that the reason a lot of these houses are in bad shape or they're abandoned is because of this railroad. So if every morning or something like that a train passes by here, I really wouldn't want to be, living right next door here, because it will disturb your sleep and everything else, maybe even shake your house a little bit. So this is the railroad. But it's a beautiful area in terms of nature. However, some of the houses look kind of apocalyptic. Let's go ahead and walk a little bit further and see what we can see. These are nice houses with some Christmas decorations, and looks like people live there. Absolutely fantastic. There's a car coming, so let's cross the road. Let's see what else we can find here. Okay, looks like there's a patch of land here for sale. Very, very cool. and there seem to be a lot of cars that are coming here. So I'm going to go back, walk to my car, get in the car, and then drive through Bentonville all the way to Browntown and see what we can find there. I'm sure these are quiet, sleepy places, but there are lots of interesting things. So we're going to go ahead and go there and see what we can find. Before we go, I see something interesting here. Some kind of a structure. Looks like some kind of silo or something like that. Maybe grain storage or something. It has a door. You can go there. Let's go ahead and walk there and see what we can see. Seems like interesting. There's a road here that goes to it. Looks like an old structure. Maybe they used to store some corn there or something. I don't really know. It could even be some kind of a silo for a missile or something. I don't really know. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. I don't want to stray too far in there because it could be on private property and I don't want to be trespassing. Very, very cool. Let's go ahead and stick the camera in there and see what's inside. Looks like there are some soda cans and things, but there's nothing else in there. Definitely could serve like a shelter or something in case of a storm. So let's go back and go back to the car, and I'm going to drive from here through Bentonville, and I'm going to go all the way to Browntown. One thing I've noticed driving here are people are very, very friendly. I'm the only guy walking on this road, but the people driving here, they all wave at you. Very, very friendly. So it's very, very nice. It's very nice to see that people are really, really amazing in this small town America. I absolutely love it. Before I get in the car, one more interesting thing to mention here is that there seem to be a lot of canoe companies out here that take you on a canoe ride. Shenandoah River National Park is nearby over there, so you will see billboards like this for canoe companies. And right across the billboard here, there seems to be an old church and a cemetery. All right, so I'm back in the car. Let's go ahead and drive a little bit through Bentonville Road all the way to Browntown and see what we can find there. All right, here I am turning on Bentonville Road, the places where we just took a tour, driving by that house where a tree fell on it, and pretty soon we are going to go over the railroad tracks here. In the background back there, you can see the mountains, part of the Shenandoah National Park. Nearby here, if you want to hike Overall Run Trail, which is one of the famous trails here in the Shenandoah National Park, it's also located down here, down the road. Overall Run waterfall is supposed to be the tallest waterfall in the state of Virginia. What I understand from it is that when it's wintertime, the waterfall freezes and it expands in volume, and the people come down here and they climb the waterfall. So they do some ice climbing on the waterfall. But lately the weather has been a little bit too warm for the waterfall to freeze. So I am assuming that there's not a lot of ice climbing going on. Driving here, I see some kind of a farm stand where maybe they're selling something. Let's go. We can quickly stop here and see if we can buy anything. All right, it looks like it's somebody's farm. Very well organized, absolutely amazing, immaculate. It's called Whitmere Family Garden. I think it's a little bit off season, or there's nothing here, but I would assume that during the spring or summertime they would sell a lot of vegetables here because they have a Wenmore code there. So it is very, very cool. Just looking at this house from the road, it looks like they have a chicken coop there. They have maybe some pigs there. There's a smell of cows. It smells like a farm. So I assume that during the season, when it's the weather is warm, spring, summer, they do sell some eggs, maybe some vegetables, maybe even fruits there. Wow, just look at the beauty of this landscape. I know I could have chosen a better day to do this tour, but still, the skies are not clear, it's cloudy, but the landscape is still absolutely beautiful. We are quickly approaching the heart of Browntown, Virginia. I see that there's a small bridge here that fits one car at a time. So if there are no other cars coming, we're going to park somewhere and then take a little tour of the heart of Browntown and see what we can find here. That seems to be a good parking, so let's go ahead and park here right next to the church. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived to Browntown, Virginia. Let's go ahead and see what we can find here. This building here appears to be some kind of a community center. Let's go ahead and take a walk and see what we can find. There's a very, very old colonial type of building here with a bell at the top. Very, very pretty. This looks to be a church. It's Browntown Baptist Church, established in 1844. So this church was built here before the Civil War. This is so cool. I see some beautiful windows there. Very, very pretty building. And here, that's the bridge that we just crossed to get here. Let's go ahead and walk a little bit and see what we can find. There's a nice stream that goes through here. This is I don't know what the name of this stream is, but it crosses right under that bridge there. I've read a little bit about Browntown somewhere where every year they have what they call a duck race here. What they do is they drop a bunch of ducks from the bridge, and then there's a race happening here where you enter this lottery system where if your duck crosses the line first, then you get a prize. It's pretty cool. I think it would be nice to come here for that. I don't think a lot of people walk here with cameras. Like I said, this is a place that you wouldn't come to unless you have some kind of business here or you live here. But so a lot of people are looking at me and thinking, what is this guy doing? All right, I see some kind of a nice park there, so right there. So let's walk there and see what's going on there. When you come to small towns like this, you see a lot of very, very old buildings that have a lot of history. As I was walking to that park over there, I come across this building here. Seems to be a very, very old building. It's a building number 52. Let's go ahead and see what it says here. It says the Doctor, Updike, and an old post office building. This is so cool. Look at this. Very, very old building. But you can tell that the community takes very good care of this building because the paint appears to be in very good condition and the roof is very good. I'm sure there's a lot of history attached to this building, so it would be very interesting to read about the history of this building as I get home. when you live in small communities like this, you know, surrounded by woods and mountains, there's always a danger of wildfires. So right here I see that they have a sign for fire danger. Right now it's 1, which is extremely low, but I assume that when it's 4 or extreme, I'm sure there's a fire ban where you cannot do any kind of fires, controlled fires or anything like that. All right, so we're coming up to this old building here. This one looks like to be another church, and there's a bell on the top there, and it was a bell house or something up there, and I think there was a storm and it caused the damage, so that piece of the building fell on the ground, and it's stored right there to the side. It looks like it is a very, very old building, but this one is definitely also another church. See, this piece right here was supposed to be on top of the building, but it fell. I think that since that piece fell, this building is no longer waterproof, so water may be getting inside the building, unless they've done something up there. Oh yeah, I see that there's a tarp covering it, but the tarp is pushed to the side, so I'm assuming that the water will get in there. Looks like okay, this is a nice park here. Let's see what it says here. No alcohol, no pets, no ATVs, and no dirt bikes. Okay, we don't have any of those. Children under 7 must be supervised. Okay, looks like this is a community center, and this community center is attached to a nice park with a kids playground with a beautiful American flag up there. Absolutely amazing. Let's go ahead and see if we can see anything through the window. There are Christmas decorations, and I can see a Christmas tree in there. Very, very cool. This is also appears to be an old building. I would not be surprised if it's, you know, a couple 100 years old, just like that building over there. I noticed that the exterior of that building is very similar to this building, so I think that those two buildings are built around the same time. Let's go ahead and walk to this park and see what's there. All right. This would be a very nice venue for having summer festivals, spring festivals. You know, when you come here during springtime, I'm sure that this place looks absolutely gorgeous. Look, it's surrounded by mountains and woods. A very pretty place, and it is so quiet, other than occasional sound of cars driving by or planes overhead. It is very, very quiet, and since I can see that it's surrounded by mountains all around, I would think that it is a very dark place during night. So if you are a fan of watching stars, and if you come here at night, you know, sit there somewhere and watch the stars, I bet it would be spectacular. It looks like it snowed here recently, so there's a little bit of a patch of snow here. All right, I'm crossing this bridge here because I see some interesting things on the other side of the bridge. There appears to be like a farm and a store, so let's go and see what that store is about. This looks like a company, I should say town store. Wow, it says a nice sitting area, very well kept. 2026 Browntown calendar is sold here, $20. This community has its own calendar. I'm not surprised because it's set in a beautiful setting, so absolutely amazing. Right now this store appears to be closed. It would be very cool to, you know, go in there and talk to the owner and see what the history of this place is, but it's very, very cool. Let's see what it says here. 2026 Historic Browntown Photos. Looks like for $20 you can get a Browntown historical photo. It's definitely a beautiful photo. Horses, carriage, an American flag, and a girl waving a flag. Looks like to be a 4th of July parade or something like that. Very, very cool. Details matter here, because look at this sign here. There's a little metal sign here. It has a star. It says Texaco. It used to be a thermometer, but it's broken now. And down there it says the best friend, your our something ever something. Okay, so the store is closed, but it looks like they're open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5 p.m. So they're supposed to be open today. Right now it's time where it's supposed to be open, but they're closed. That's what small towns are about, you know. These stores don't make a lot of money. A lot of people that, you know, keep up these stores, they do it because they love doing it, you know. So it's very, very cool. Let's go ahead and see what is here. There appears to be a very nice farmland here. So let's go ahead and take a pic at the animals and see what we can see. Yep, there's a lot of sheep here. So this looks like to be a sheep farm. Look at that. In the distance there, I can see a lot of sheep and a cow in there, and I see a pony. This is a beautiful place and a beautiful farm. This is what farms should be all about. Not commercial, but family-owned farms like this, where animals are taken care of, you know. It's very, very humane. Absolutely love it. Amazing. And it is so quiet here. I decided to stop one more time and admire this building where this store is. It looks like a very old building, so well kept. And it's white and green, and then up there's a little horse. Very, very cool. All these details matter, you know, because all that makes this building historical. All these signs, all these things, they have historical significance. All right, friends, our tour of Bentonville and Browntown comes to an end. I hope you enjoyed this little tour. These are the kind of places, you know, you don't get to come to, because there's not much going on. It's a very sleepy place. It's a very, very beautiful place, and it's a very nice place if you want to retire here. It's very quiet and stress-free, and locals are very, very friendly. It's just absolutely amazing. So I'm gonna go back to my car and then get back on the road. I appreciate you watching today. Thank you very much, and I will talk to you later. You know, one thing I've noticed here in Browntown is that there's no cell phone service. Wow. But this is kind of the point. There's no distractions here. It's just you and nature, quiet, no stress.